What is a Veterans Court? A Veterans Court is a problem-solving court designed for U.S. military veterans that are charged with a misdemeanor, gross misdemeanor, or felony offenses. Veterans are given the choice to either participate in this program or serve their sentence in prison or jail. The veterans referred to this Veterans Court program are struggling with addiction, serious mental illness, co-occurring disorders, or even medical needs.
What is a Veterans Court? It is a voluntary program that's 12 to 18 months long. Services provided in this program are individual therapy, group therapy, inpatient and outpatient chemical dependency treatment, aftercare, psychiatric and psychological treatment, medical care, DBT, CBT, EMDR, dual diagnosis treatment for clients with both mental health and chemical dependency, emergency assistance, vocational training, housing assistance, advocacy, and the Mentors program.
The 5th Judicial District Veterans Court in Minnesota serves the counties of Blue Earth, Brown, Faribault, Jackson, Martin, Nicollet, and Watawan. The judge who overlooks this program is Bradley Walker. Recruiting volunteers. Volunteers bring with them dedication and a wealth of knowledge that they put to the service of the cause they support. In veterans treatment courts, veterans volunteer their time and energy to assist their fellow veterans with mentoring, including offering support, securing housing, employment linkages, job training, education, transportation, disability compensation claims, discharge status, and other linkages available at the local, state, and federal level.
Next, we will define the profile of an ideal mentor. The ideal mentor will be a veteran with knowledge and experience, a veteran from various branches of service, veterans with combat experience, active duty, reserve, National Guard, or veterans who have been discharged honorably.
Collaborate with veteran agencies to recruit qualified mentors. These agencies include, but are not limited to, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Veteran Healthcare Network, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, Vietnam Veterans of America, Veterans of Foreign Wars, local veteran centers. Collaborate with other agencies that may have veteran programs, for instance, universities, hospitals, and volunteer agencies. Place ads in local newspapers and also in the university newspaper. Place ads in the local TV channels, like KTV. Collaborate with the churches and also put announcements in their bulletins and announcement boards. Screen volunteers for criminal history, temperament, untreated combat mental illness, and commitment to the program.
It is very much a daunting task to find volunteers who meets the standard requirements. Therefore, it is crucial to work towards retaining those volunteers. Retaining volunteers not only reduces the risk of volunteer turnovers, but also ensures consistency and continuity of the task at hand. So, to retain these volunteers, one has to understand the primary reason why people volunteer in order to appreciate them appropriately. Recognize their services through simply saying thank you regularly, and organize Volunteer Appreciation Day twice a year.
Continuing the external analysis with examining the applicable legislation at the federal and state levels. Veteran statutes are drafted and controlled by the federal government. However, veterans, as well as other citizens, come under the jurisdiction of the state as well as the federal government. The United States Constitution states that the Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Article 4, Section 2. The United States Department of Veterans Affairs is responsible for providing benefits and services to veterans, followed by the individual states' Department of Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Disability Protection Act of 2010 was a piece of legislation that was influential in the protection of veterans' affairs and benefits. Congress passed this legislation, and in doing so reinforced the legal obligation to provide absolute protection of military disability benefits. Part of these benefits is to receive the appropriate accommodations in legal proceedings. As of 2016, Minnesota Statute 609.115, governing pre-sentence investigation, states that defendants who have been convicted of either a misdemeanor or a felony, the court will cause a pre-sentence investigation into the defendant's individual characteristics, circumstances, needs, potentialities, criminal record, and social history, the circumstances of the offense, and the harm caused by it to others and to the community. Subsection 10 concerns veterans specifically. Subsection 10, Military Veterans. A. When a defendant appears in court and is convicted of a crime, the court shall inquire whether the defendant is currently serving in or is a veteran of the Armed Forces of the United States. B. If the defendant is currently serving in the military or is a veteran and has been diagnosed as having a mental illness by a qualified psychiatrist or clinical psychologist or physician, the court may 1. Order that the officer preparing the report under Subdivision 1 consult with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, or another agency or person with suitable knowledge or experience, for the purpose of providing the court with information regarding treatment options available to the defendant, including federal, state, and local programming. 2. Consider the treatment recommendations of any diagnosing or treating mental health professionals, together with the treatment options available to the defendant in imposing sentence. These federal and state laws can influence the way veterans are processed through the legal system to take the context of their pre-existing conditions as a result of being a veteran into account. Such conditions include post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, and other causes that can alter behavior. Once the courts know the status of a veteran, the appropriate action can be taken for veterans facing legal charges and convictions. An additional external factor that influences a veteran's legal proceedings is the existence of a mental health diagnosis.
Steps for external analysis. Environmental scan. An environmental scan identifies the trends that will affect the future of the organization. It makes assumptions for the best case, worst case, and most likely to happen scenarios. An example of this would be political influences that may impact the funding availability for the Veterans Court program. A best case scenario of this would be the president increases funding to veterans programs as promised. A worst case scenario would be funding is cut to human services, which funds veterans programs. And the most likely case scenario is no changes made and funding sources remains available.
McNamara states, "It is common today that funders want to see evidence of collaboration among the nonprofits that they fund. Collaboration, when carried out carefully, can be a windfall or a major benefit for all parties involved. Therefore, it is important to understand who your potential collaborators are and how you might work with them." An example of this would be advantages: services would remain in-house, making it efficient for the court to maintain contact with the service providers. Disadvantages: if turnover rates are high within an agency, maintaining a stable partnership with the agency will be difficult for the court.
Steps for internal analysis. Considering results of past program evaluations is a great way to do internal analysis. For example, we used the 4th Judicial District Veterans Court 2-year review from July 2010 to June 2012 to look at this program. It identifies top strengths and weaknesses. One strength would be, this program reduces criminal recidivism. 72% of participants who have at least 24 months post-entry commit fewer offenses than during the 24 months prior to entering the court. But a weakness would be that this program has absolutely no public image. When contacting the Veteran Court Coordinator, Kevin Metler, multiple times with questions, no response was given. When asking the Veterans Coordinator on campus, David Schrader, he also had no information regarding this program.
In conclusion, the goal of the Veterans Court program is to positively change the lives of U.S. military veterans who have currently been convicted and are facing criminal charges. Other goals are to reduce criminal recidivism, facilitate participant sobriety, improve family relationships, and provide social support, amongst other things. We would all like to thank the 5th Judicial District Veterans Court for helping U.S. military veterans obtain the support they need and coordinating additional resources for the program participants and their families.